evolution, let me start discussing about the subtopic origin of life. Why we need to study the origin of life? We all know very well all the living species of this world originated from a common living species. So all the living species of this world originated from the common living species. Before that, which particular structure made the group of organic molecule? If you are discussing in detail, we know very well about Big Bang theory, right? How many inorganic molecules joined and made organic molecule, and how the organic molecule made the living cells. We all know very well, right? In the current era, wherever you go in the universe, whatever the living species are getting originated, it is getting originated only from the pre-existing living structure. That pre-existing living structure, wherever we are discussing, okay, which is giving rise to the new important structure, we used to call that as the biogenesis theory. Again, back I'm repeating, biogenesis theory is a theory, okay. Biogenesis theory is a theory which denotes specifically the formation of the living species from the existing living species. That is called biogenesis theory, right? So the quite antonym of the biogenesis theory is abiogenesis theory. Formation of the living species from the non-living species is called abiogenesis. So quite a number of great scientists given a classic proof for the biogenesis theory. That is the reason why abiogenesis theory was ruled out once for all. Right? So we'll discuss one by one everything in detail. Calmly you listen to this. The evolutionary biology, or the study of evolution of the various species, speaks about the ancestral evolution, the ancestral structure, and ancestral structure existence area. So by analyzing the evolution of a particular species, we can understand where the species originated, where the species survived, where the species, okay, made this quite a number of subvariety. Like this we can understand in detail. If you're talking about the transition from one form to another form is called evolution. We know very well our ancestors. That means we can say simply human ancestors are not formed by any other animal. So the existing different type of human beings formed us, like Homo habilis, Homo erectus formed us, right? So by analyzing the structure of the various human skeleton, we can understand all the structures in detail, right? You know very well the night sky. We are in the sense peering into the distance part. We used to call that as stellar distance. The stellar distance speaks about, for example, the star you are seeing from your house. We are understanding the star is in this position. The light is coming from the star, light is falling over the islands. At the time, the star will be there in a different position. There is a reason why it is called what? Stellar distance. Okay, stellar distance. Like this, they used to say in many ways, right? So here, this stellar distance speaks about when you are examining the moon, when you're examining the stars, the stars and the moon are in the different position. Okay, in the different location. Okay, why? Because the light takes a lot of time to reach our islands. At the time, the moon or star will be going to some other area. We know very well the universe are made up of quite a number of elements. Those quite a number of elements, which are not only the earth, which are not only the planet, which are not only the air molecule, there are so many other components are there in this universe, right? If you're talking about the Big Bang theory that we already told to you a number of times, okay, is responsible for originating the earth. So the entire crux of this concept is how many inorganic made certain organic, not all organic, not all organic, only few organic can make the living structure. So only few organic can make the living structure in the sense for making a basic unit cell, we require a specific machinery cell organelles. So specific machinery cell organelles are required for making the cells. For making the cell, I required specific cell organelles. For making the specific cell organelles, I required specific organic molecule. For making the specific organic molecule, I required a specific inorganic molecule. So many inorganic molecule joins and makes organic. Many organic are not making the living structure. Only few organic are making the living structure. So that is the crux of this entire Big Bang theory, right? So now, if you are entering into the Earth origination, many gas after condensation and after coming as a rain, it interacted with many inorganic molecules and made many organic molecules, and many organic molecules made the living species, right? We know very well, okay, once upon a time, the spores with a lot of living species came from other planet and entered into the earth, okay, and in the earth, this spore brought so many living species, and that living species or the ancestor species made many more living species. Like this, one more theory is there. That theory is called panspermia theory. Panspermia theory. Panspermia theory indicates the spores with a lot of living species are making the new varieties of living species. That is called panspermia theory, right? So now we are coming for the next phase of explanation. In the case of Big Bang theory, what we need to understand is the Louis Pasteur, a great scientist, he demonstrated the living species are getting originated or getting synthesized from the pre-existing living structure. For that, he introduced one important experiment called the bend neck experiment. In the bend neck experiment, what we need to understand basically, if the bend neck of the round bottom flask, the bend neck of the round bottom flask, if it is completely open, plenty of microorganism enters. Plenty of microorganism enters into the bend neck and residing there. Okay, if it is unsterile, if it is not heated, if it is not heated. So we need to understand if it is not heated and if it is left as such, plenty of microorganism enters and gets stagnated here. If the neck above the round bottom flask is removed, what will happen is plenty of microorganism enters into the round bottom flask. The plenty of microorganism entered into the round bottom flask, which is not having the bent neck, will feed over the nutritional substances and makes plenty of new varieties of species. So that is the reason why the yellowish nutrition medium become what? Brownish, indicating the species population size has gone up because of the free entry of the microorganism. Why? Because we remove the bent neck. Though we remove the bent neck, microorganism enters randomly. Microorganism enters randomly, makes many population. As a result, what we are observing, so the living species came from the atmosphere, made many new living species. That concept is called as, the concept is called what? Biogenesis theory. Was explained by a great scientist called Louis Pasteur. We know very well Louis Pasteur did so many other experiments. Many students, even though they are brilliant, they are writing the wrong message. Louis Pasteur postulates or hypothesis like this. Whenever they're asking the grade 12 CBSE biology board exam, we need to say Louis Pasteur told the formation of the living species from the pre-existing living structure. Like this we need to narrate. Why? Because in the grade 12 CBSE structure, we are not discussing the Louis Pasteur sterilization procedure. Louis Pasteur sterilization procedure we are not discussing in any other chapter of the grade 12 CBSE board chapters, right? So we should not explain about the sterilization process. What they are asking and how to say the answer, that is very, very important pertaining to the NCERT textbook, right? Now, if you are entering into the next important concept for the how the for the organic evolution, calm, you listen to me. So basically, many students are writing wrongly the methane group wrongly. They are writing. So this is the way you'll write the methane. So most of the answer script when I'm correcting, when I was a CBSE board examiner, so at the time I used to find out the methane structure should supposed to be okay to the subscript or upper script to the subscript CH4 methane. ammonia, NH3, ammonium, NH4, amine, NH2, right? So ammonia and methane, whenever it is interacting, after the volcano eruption, right? After the volcano activities, what happened exactly? The methane, hydrogen, ammonia, water vapor combines. So what I will do is basically in this area, if I am explaining the step-by-step process in detail, you will understand. This entire experiment speaks about how the ammonia is formed. So what you are doing basically, water, can you see this water? Okay, methane, ammonia, and hydrogen gas, everything are allowed to go into the important flask. In this flask, we are passing the current with the help of the electrodes. What will happen is, in this particular potential difference, in this particular electrical circuit, methane, ammonia, hydrogen, water are all combining with each other because of the electrical circuit. And once the water, methane, ammonia, hydrogen are all coming with each other, it is coming as a amino acid gas. Who is coming as amino acid gas? So the ammonia, methane, hydrogen gas, and water vapor, all these things we are passing into the important mixing area. We used to call it spark area. In this spark area, we are giving the current at the differential voltage gradient by using the electrodes. And in this particular electrical circuit, what happens exactly? The gas combination produces the amino acid. So this concept we can say with a hidden sentence. Many inorganic molecule like methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor combines and makes the organic amino acids. So organic amino acid is totally different from inorganic ammonia. So inorganic ammonia, inorganic methane, inorganic hydrogen, inorganic water are all combining with each other and making the organic amino acid vapor. When this organic amino acid vapor is entering into the condenser, okay, it is getting condensed. Why? Because in condenser we are passing the cooling water. So the cooling water while circulating through the external jacket, when the cooling water is getting circulated through the external jacket, what happens exactly? All these gases condenses and makes the amino acid drops. These amino acid drops are collected. These amino acid drops are collected in this particular area. The amino acid drops are collected at this particular area. So from this information, what we need to understand basically, the very good example for the organic evolution is this Urey-Miller experiment. Like this, we are concluding. Now we need to understand the next basic important information in the case of origin of life. In the case of origin of life, so we all know very well the basic components are very, very important to make everything, right? If you're talking about sugars, nitrogen bases, pigments, fats are all very, very important for making the complex molecules. Okay, complex molecule like this, you're saying, I'm not understanding what complex molecule. Like this, whenever you're asking the question, we are ready to help you out. You know very well the nitrogen base is very, very important for forming the DNA, nucleic acid, right? Nucleic acid structure is formed from the nitrogen base. We know very well about the pigment. Pigment are very, very important for doing the photosynthesis process. If the photosynthesis process should supposed to happen in the plant of various geographical area in the different rate, we need the pigment of different quality and quantity. We need the fat to make the lipid of various type. So the lipid of high quality, the lipid of low quality, the lipid of membrane, the lipid of the cell cytoplasm are all formed, okay, by means of the addition of many fatty acids, right? So many small organic molecules makes complex organic molecule, and certain complex organic molecule are making the cellular structure, right? So non-cellular life form have originated from 3 billion years ago. Okay, we used to call this closal molecules. Okay, closal molecules encompassing RNA, protein, and polysaccharides. So this encompassing molecule only I am calling as complex organic molecule. See, what is this encompassing molecule? Complex organic molecule, right? So like this, we need to understand so many number of messages, right? So now I think so you understood this message. Pigment makes photosynthetic unit. Photosynthetic unit runs the photosynthesis. This is the way the sunlight exposure is required for the plant to do the photosynthesis, right? So now if you're looking at all this concept in detail in Big Bang theory, can you see this? From the prokaryote, many species originated, like mammals, amphibians, reptiles, fishes we used to call as spices, right? Okay, the sponges are coming to porifera. Cyanobacteria is a type of eubacteria. So all these things we are observing as an outcome of the many organic molecule which are exclusively making the various structures of the living species, right? Living species, not only plant, not only animal, not only bacteria, not only fungus. So why we are not saying virus? Why? Because virus has both living and non-living property. Being a bacteria, where either even if I'm inside the cell or outside the cell, I'm having the living property. But if I'm a virus, I can't survive. I will not show the living character when I am outside the cell. When I'm inside the cell, definitely, of course, I'll show the living character. Of course, I'll show the living character. Are you getting my point? So what we need to understand basically, the many RNAs, okay, are very important. Okay, prebiotically. Why RNA is required? Then only with the help of RNA, protein will be formed. With the help of the protein, many living structures are formed. Right. So there is a way you need to understand. All inorganic can't make organic. All organic can't make certain living structures. So all living structures, basic unit cell can't make the tissue. Can't make the tissue. All the cells can't make the tissue. Right. So this is the way you need to remember in your body. This is the way you need to remember in your mind. Okay. So here, if you're talking about the conclusion or the origin of the life, if you're listening to this concept very clearly, the branches of evolutionary biology take place on the inspiring voyage that spans the birth of the universe, right? The formation of the stars and galaxies. So the solar system and the emergence of the life. So here you need to understand how the universe has originated, how the stars and galaxies are formed, and then solar system and emergency. Uh, Emergency, not emergency, emergent molecule. Okay, there is no emergency here in this place, right? So, if the certain species need to survive in adverse climatic condition, you need to follow the emergency situation or climax communication. So, climax communication. For example, okay, here I am a dinosaurus. When I'm experiencing the ice age, so I struggle a lot to survive, but the very cold climatic condition kill me. So that is the reason why. So my species population you can't find anywhere in the world. All right. This ice age is not continuing even now. If ice age would have continued, then we can't exist now, right? So this is the way you need to remember. So certain species are killed by the climatic conditions, certain species are killed by the predator, certain species are killed by the competitors, so certain species are killed by the parasite, certain species are killed by the saprophyte. So like this, we can say in a different order, right? Accordingly, the evolution history changes of each and every species. For example, you know very well, if I am having many number of competitors, my body features development will become totally a different structure, right? So this is where you're remembering in your mind. Now you're coming for the next major segment, evolution of the life form theory. Before entering into this, let me start discussing some few questions of the origin of the life. Okay, before this second topic, okay, we'll be discussing some few questions. Okay, can you see this? What is the term for the formation of the diverse organic material from inorganic constituencies? Inorganic constituencies, right? Of course, chemical evolution. So just only we discussed the Operon and Halden experiment was well explained with experimental proof by Urey and Miller. So Urey Miller is not there in the slide. Operon and Halden is not there in the slide. I can't come randomly and then I can't take the class, right? I should have preparation before coming to the class, right? So same thing for you also. When you're entering into this particular chapter studies, you need to understand certain basic concepts, and then you need to enter. In the sense, evolution concepts are there in the grade in CBSE. Evolution concepts are there in the grade 9 CBSE. That you need to revise it, and then you need to enter into this particular chapter. Then understanding credential will go up. So spontaneous generation denotes a biogenesis theory, random species origination. So random number of species origination. Okay, in the random time interval, the species is originated. Okay, that is not accepted at all. The other name of spontaneous generation is called abiogenesis theory. What do you mean about abiogenesis theory? Non-living species or making the living species, that is called abiogenesis theory, which gone for failure once for all. Why? Because many great scientists give the proof for biogenesis theory, okay, and none of the scientists can give the proof for abiogenesis theory. That is why once for all, the abiogenesis theory or spontaneous generation theory was ruled out once for all. It was not accepted throughout the world. I already told you the panspermia. So what are all the wrong options also given? For this answer, everybody knows chemical evolution. What do you mean about panspermia? Just only we discussed before 20 minutes back. The spores came from the other planet, brought n number of living species to survive in the earth. The theory is called panspermia theory, which is not given in this particular area, right? So even the wrong option also, if you're understanding, what will happen is in the forthcoming exam, the wrong option will become the correct option for the different type of question. So that we are asking you to understand the wrong option explanation also, right? Now we are entering into the question number 2. Which element were among the first to form after the Big Bang theory? Of course, hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen and helium. So our students always we like very much, instead of asking this type of question, what they will do, they will give the formula. They will give the formula. You know the formula of the hydrogen is H. The formula of the hydrogen is, okay, H, capital H, small e, helium. So helium symbol, hydrogen symbol, nitrogen symbol, phosphorus symbol, iron, silica, silica Si, not S. So if you're giving S, S will become sulfur, right? So what they will do, instead of giving the terms like this, they will give the symbol. You should choose a symbol. Then only what your answer will be correct. So all the answers will be not taken to you in a very comfort level, right? Sometimes they'll ask symbols. Okay, for example, you know very well, helium is a noble gas element, right? Helium is a noble gas element. Okay, so okay, here that they will ask. So they will ask, okay, which, okay, one is the helium gas. Which was the helium gas? First to form after the Big Bang theory. Big Bang means, for example, helium gas is noble gas, right? So instead of saying helium, they'll say noble gas. Instead of giving words, they'll give symbols. Okay, instead of giving the word iron, we know very well Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus, ferrous, ferric. Okay, they will give Fe2O3. So they will give in any order. Okay, so you should not get confused with all these formulas. So then you can crack the CBSE board with maximum marks. Now we are entering to the next important question. Question number 3. There we are discussing about our Louis Pasteur, a great scientist. So whenever you are studying, you need to study some full of joy and cheer. Okay, what Louis Pasteur did, other than explaining about the living species, he told about sterilization process. This is the way the microorganism growth can be controlled. Yes, of course, we are very happy about that. And then he told about the formation of the living species from the pre-existing form. How do you call that? How do you call that biogenesis theory, which is not given here? What is it? What is the theory called? Biogenesis theory. So in the explanation, we're not given biogenesis theory, but then why you are saying that? Yes, of course, it is a part of the CBSE textbook. Multiple explanation is very important, right? So yeah, where are they given biogenesis? No, no. Life arises from the pre-existing life. It's called biogenesis theory. Spelling I already written before the commencement of the class. Second thing you need to understand, in the Greek, the formation of the living structure from the living structure was explained in a well-renowned book called Omani Silly easily. The Greek sentence is there in the ninth grade CBSE textbook. Omani Silly easily. Right? So this everything you need to correlate. Oh, this is the message. This message anywhere in the lower grade we studied, at the basic structure, how we studied, in which particular heading we studied. Just you need to correlate, right? So in the grade 9, okay, Louis Pasteur information is there, right? So the love towards the subject is very, very important. Okay, just I took the class. Okay, like this I should not do, and just you are listening to the class, you should not do. So both the end should have the very good interest during the classes, right? So what is the term for the formation of the diverse organic molecule from inorganic constituencies? Like this, we are looking about. Of course, the answer for this is what? Chemical evolution. Chemical evolution. Yes or no? Okay, we already told this message for you a number of times. All right. See, all the organic molecule can't make the living structure. Only certain organic molecule can make the living structure. That certain that certain organic molecule alone can make the living structure is called as conservate. The conservate term is not there in the CBSE textbook. The conservate term is not there in the CBSE textbook. I can't explain in the CBSE board exam preparation. Right? Some students are exclusively going only for the CBSE board exam, not for NEET and not for JEE, right? So for JEE students and NEET students, it is compulsory they should know only the certain organic molecule will make the living structure. Those certain organic molecules are called conservates. But for CBSE board exam students, not required. That is why we are not going behind the NCERT textbook limit. Right? Now, whenever you're having time, go to the related videos for understanding much more about the same concept. Let me go to the worked examples. In the worked examples, the conditions of the earlier, how they contributed to the formation of the life building. Now only we discuss Big Bang theory. The same Big Bang theory we given in a structured point by point manner or in the pattern to give you a better representation for the consent paper evaluated to score the best mark, right? So to score a very good mark, we given this type of point by point information in a very concise way with a very good clarity. Okay, for example, can you see this phrase here? Okay, this is a worked example. Worked example is nothing but hot question. What do you mean by hot question? High order thinking skill question. In this high order thinking skill question, what we already had given here is first we given this point. After this point, what we given? We given the examples. After the examples, what we given? We given the in-depth explanation for the same. Right? So explanation on the example. Example for the answer, whatever we given for the question, like this, what you need to divide into 3 periphery. Then securing the mark is very easy. Explanation, example, and explanation on the example. So this is the way you need to give the answer if it is 3 mark. If it is 1 mark, 1 sentence is enough, right? So explain the significance of the ozone layer in the context of the yearly life form. So can you see this place here? We all know very well the ozone is responsible for filtering the UV light. Okay. The same question they can ask in another way, where the ozone exists. It is in the topmost layer of the stratosphere, which is not there here. Stratosphere is there in the slide? No. So when we all studied social science in the lower grade, we studied troposphere, stratosphere, lithosphere, ionosphere. Okay, like this we studied many spheres, biosphere, like this. So in the stratosphere, topmost one of the layer called the ozone layer, which filters the UV light entry into the earth. As a result, what happens? The cancer existence or the cancer origination chances are very less. Why? Because the ozone protects the UV entry into the world, right? So the UV exposure of low intensity is very good for the health. Why? Because you know very well, being a surgeon, when we are doing the surgery, all the vessels and utensils, whatever I'm using for the surgery, I used to keep in the UV eliminator. Okay, I used to sterilize all the surgical vessels in the UV eliminator. Then I'll be carrying out the vessels for doing the surgery, right? So the concept, why we are narrating for you. Why? Because the UV of low intensity is good for the health. Why? Because it makes vitamin D in the skin. But UV of high intensity, it is bad for the health. Like this, when I'm keeping on saying this message, always you need to think in your mind the UV ranges from 100 to 400 nanometer in electromagnetic spectrum, which is not there in this line. So you need to understand the Gotouniversity portal teachers are not only a teacher like other institution teachers who read the content. We will bring a lot of hidden sentence of each and every sentence. We will bring a lot of examples. Whatever it is given here, it is just a skeleton. Above that, we will build the body in depth to understand in detail, right? So the UV light ranges from 100 to 400 nanometer. We all know very well, right? So this 100 to 400 nanometer range is a part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum, we know very well, it is less than 700 nanometer. It is less than 700 nanometer, right? So who is less than 700 nanometer? The UV light is not the less than 700 nanometer, but because some students takes the message wrongly. Listen very, very carefully. So 400 to 700 nanometer, we are saying for visible spectrum, a part of electromagnetic spectrum. So here less than visible spectrum, UV spectrum is present. Okay, 100 to 400 nanometer is UV range, right? So I'm talking about the UV of low intensity. Less than 200 is good for the health. Above 300 nanometer, it causes skin cancer. You will die. Like this, we are saying to the people who are exposed to the much more UV light exposure because of the over pollution. Because of the over pollution, right? So I think so. You understood this message. Now we are entering into the next important concept. Tips of the exam, of course, terminology. Scientists who proved the hypothesis, scientists who disproved the hypothesis, scientists who contributed for the postulator hypothesis, the scientist told what particular terminology for the living species origination. Okay, like this, if you're keeping your learning structure, then facing the exam is very easy for all of you, right?